So I've been saying until now, um, LLMs are amazing, but there's things they can't do. And one of the things they can't do is make decisions, do the recommendation engines, and bring us that extra value that decision science gives us. Uh, I'm about to change my mind. I've started to see how one can use the new capabilities of reinforcement learning to do fine tuning to actually do this efficiently or start walking on the path towards decision science. What do I mean? So, don't get me wrong, using agentic AI, generative AI, to automate processes is amazing. It's so flexible, it's so powerful, definitely delivers efficiency more than ever. Taking a team of generative AI agents that self correct, self inspect, that the potential there is mind blowing. But I've always my goal, my north star was to be able to get to making decisions, so supporting that. One of the things on that path is causality analysis, to understand the context much better, understand what drives what, but also what's the impact of a decision. And this brings us to that level of effectiveness that we are all striving for. So reinforcement learning, fine tuning, gives us this opportunity. And Microsoft have just added a lot of capabilities around this. And I'm really, really, really excited about going to start uh, um, scratching the surface at least and investigating how this can go, can help me in my decision science work. So, just context. You got your base model. The way that all the different companies like OpenAI got to the base model, they took all the knowledge that they could put their hands on, spent a lot of money and a lot of compute on training the large language models. That's where we get our base models from. We know that if we want the base model to use um, our own data, then we'll use things like RAG and CAG. However, the RAG allows me to search and find things in my data based on the context that comes from the human knowledge. It doesn't really fully understand my data. So then when you go and say, okay, now if I create some labeling, and I'm deliberately saying this is not classical labeling, although it could be, but it's more than that, I can actually teach the base model or create an instance of the base model that starts from where it was, but adds that extra knowledge for my own way of doing things, my own documentation, my actions, my results, and it will um, respond in a way that I wanted to do with the logic that I wanted to incorporate. So it's kind of taking somebody from school and taking them to university. So this excites me because this suddenly opens up again. Hey, look, this is actually supervised learning. All the paradigms of statistical philosophy around how do I know if this is a good model? How do I evaluate it? How do I choose between different models? How do I feed the right model data into it? How do I do the responsible AI bit? Comes back and oh, now I again need data scientists to do that. So data science is not dead. Definitely not. So I always kind of I played with fine tuning in the past. You know that. Um, I wasn't that excited because it's very expensive. You needed a lot of cases to do it, and before you got, if you really were in a situation where you needed to improve the performance, you went, okay, I need to improve the either use a stronger model, change the settings of that model, the heat, the temperature there, or other settings, number of tokens I give it. Change, of course, the prompt. A lot of prompt engineering can give me better accuracy and the direction I want. Now, I could do a lot without fine tuning. Of course, I couldn't get to my goal of recommendation engines, but couldn't justify that because I've got other good old classical machine learning algorithms that work very, very well. This needs to be much more cost effective. Then, the end of last year, OpenAI said, hey, look, we're using now reinforcement learning to do fine tuning. And you don't need that many cases. And Microsoft have now incorporated this capability in Foundry and have started showing how there's different use cases, computer vision and decision science, where this is amazingly impactful. So it's not always, I mean, the good old tools are still relevant, but when you've got a lot of text to work with and a complex situation where the rules are not clearly articulated and might be changing under your feet, kind of, and you constantly need to retrain, but you still know where you want to go. You still have a way of doing the labeling. So those are the clear actions. Then this is when the fine tuning using reinforcement learning comes to its own. And if you think about it, I can use generative AI in a few places around the decision making world or paradigm. Um, Around the context, I can use generative AI and agents to understand the context better, maybe shape it better, classify it, and so forth. If I have a list of actions that I know that these are the right actions, like I watch how a particular person who's doing triage on emails that makes decisions, and I say I would like to mimic the decisions that this person has made on look at the context of the email, make decision what to do with it, and the decisions are clear. You can do A, B, C, D, or F. Then here you are. That's sufficient for me to do the fine tuning, and I can create an engine that will recommend good decisions. However, we can take it to the next level, and I'm inspired by this particular paper that I've just read. And my next step is to actually figure out how to make it work. And my next step is actually to figure out how to make it work in Azure Machine Learning, and that's actually calibrate the confidence in expected outcomes. And this will take us to that paradigm of really recommending actions and evaluating how good they're going to be and teaching. This adds it to the um, cost function of the reinforcement learning, the implication of the decision and the outcome. So it teaches it better decision making to get better outcomes. Yeah, and the last thing to say is, of course, the Microsoft have added the fine tuning capability to Foundry. Thank you very much for listening.